I wanted to cover a few basic things that are just going to be the always of making your presentation, making your sale in final expense, telesales, and number one rule of all time that always comes to mind that's absolutely true forever and always is that frequency will always lead to greatness. You can't be great without the frequency. And so we want repetition, 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 lots of reps. We want as much talk time and calls as we can get consistently per day, and then putting ourselves into the same situations, drilling, practicing, and role playing. Another very key factor in this is we want to make sure we have a script that we can use that is consistent, that we can make it our own, and we have certain things that we want to say in certain situations at all times. So it's very important that you make as many calls as possible, talk to many as people as possible for as long as you can, and present to them by going through the steps that are in the script to do a full presentation to the quoting people 18, 20, 22 minutes in. Some rapport has been built. We've established that they have a want, they have a need, they can afford it. You know, it's something that they do care about. However, if some people don't trust you, they're not necessarily going to let you present to them. So that's why it may take a little time. And it's definitely worth the practice and the reps to do those full presentations and quote every single person that we talk to and read the script to them and just go through that script. And sometimes you'll take a moment to build rapport. It could be early, it could be a few minutes in, it could be 8 minutes in, it could take 10 minutes to get somebody's wall down to where they trust you enough to even build that rapport for you. You'll find that it comes in different stages or different places. You never really know where it's going to happen, but we want to pitch everybody, we want to quote everybody and give it the best that we can and put ourselves into these situations as much as possible, so that way when you do a training like this, your retention of that training is going to be at such a high level. It's going to be at a level that it's never been before, because you can say, oh, I've been there, I've heard that, I know what he's referring to. Oh yeah, this happened the other day. Because after a while, you've heard it all. You've heard it all. You've heard every possible thing and angle that there could be. Another thing, I have to say this, if you've been doing something else in terms of sales or conversations with these people, perhaps you understand them, you understand how they work. But this is a completely different conversation than you've ever had with them before. It's a completely different conversation. Don't mix this conversation with another type of thing that you've offered in the past. You want to keep this separate from that completely and just say, hey, we can talk about that other thing on another call. You know, maybe you're a final expense agent and you've sold Medicare. You want to be able to take that other thing, the Medicare, and say, hey, that's a conversation for another time. You don't want to be mixing the pitches together. Absolutely, I'd be more than happy to help you with that. Let's set up a specific time to go over that by itself. For now, let's just talk about this and stick with this. Now, there is one special circumstance where, hey, I've got this major issue, you know, as the client with my Medicare, and I just don't know what to do. I don't know, you know, I'm having this, and they just can't get it out of their mind, and that's all they're focused on. Hey, let's just switch completely into that. Leave this other thing alone. Let's get that handled, fully done, and then we can switch back into the final expense. Obviously, we have to be smart with how we do that. We have to compliantly do it. We have to follow the proper rules and guidelines, set up an appointment, you know, do our recording, things like that. Fortunately, I have a dialing system software where everything is fully recorded. And so we just want to make sure that we stay compliant, we follow the rules. But with final expense, there are not nearly as many regulations as with Medicare. You know, it's just completely different. I do have leads that recently requested the information through opt-in data. We can work on those. There's pros and cons to it. I can go over each of those pros and cons with you. I'll just go ahead and cover it now. One is they were live transferred in after they had opted in to receive information regarding final expenses. And then they were transferred in, but we didn't have their data. We know the state or the area code, but you'll say, hey, the other day I had a week or two ago before Christmas, I had an agent who tried to transfer you over to us. It had to do with some coverage you were thinking about leaving for a loved one. Does that ring a bell? Oh, not really. And then at that moment, I'm just, well, what was your first name? I get that first name, put that data down, And then I just go right into my script. I immediately, well, Betty, my name's Griffin, and the reason for my call was a while back. You might remember being curious to see what your options are, to leave something to Susan. Does that ring a bell? Yeah, that rings a bell. Okay, well, I'm just here to get you the information that they were talking about. Do you already have something specifically in place for your final expenses? No, I don't have anything in place. Okay, no problem, but that's usually not the case. What they're usually going to say is, yeah, I already got that taken care of. Excellent, Betty. I would be shocked if you didn't already have something. I mean, you are 67, right? Or maybe you have to find out their age as well. You know, maybe if you don't have it, but usually you'll have it. Oh, you are 67. Yeah, I'm 67. Okay, well, I'd be shocked if you didn't have something in place at 67. Do you remember trying to see if you could save money, add to what you have, or looking for a loved one? And they'll give you one of those things. No, I mean, usually the fourth thing is that sometimes it's, no, we're all good there. No, I know you're good, but do you just remember being curious? Just curious to see what your options are. This is a very low, non-aggressive, just, hey, look, I understand completely where you're coming from. Do you remember just being curious to kind of see what your options are out there? We call it panda pause. Like, do you remember just being curious to see what your options are out there? Yeah, I was trying to save money, or the state was giving this free thing out there. That doesn't exist, by the way. There's no free life insurance or burial insurance. The state's not going to cover anything. Yeah, back in 1963, Betty, they were given like $250 for like a full-on funeral. Now, obviously today, you can tell that that's really not going to get the job done. As you know, funerals are $8, $10, $12, $15, $20,000, depending on what kind of funeral you're going to do. Oh, I'm just going to do a cremation. Well, you need $3, $4, $5, $7,000. It just kind of depends. Everybody's a little bit different, and what you may or may not have in place is different than your neighbor, which is why there's not a one-size-fits-all type of plan. There's no magical brochure that can just help everybody, because everybody's situation's a little bit different. And then I always like to circle back. Do you remember just being curious to see what your options are to leave something to your son or daughter, brother, cousin, somebody like that? Yeah, my daughter. Oh, what's her name? Her name is Susan. Okay, well, you remember wanting to just kind of get something to leave for Susan? Yeah. Were you trying to cover a funeral or a cremation? Oh, we were going to do a funeral. I don't want no cremation. I don't want that. Okay, well, that makes sense. That's what most of my clients are leaning towards. That's definitely the way to go. What we would do here for you is we'd make sure we mail you a final wishes planning guide and a living will and a discount code for prescription drug, dental, and vision. Does that sound like something that would be good for you? Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great. Do you already have a final expense? Do you have like a final wishes planning guide already? They either do or they don't. It just kind of cool. Either way, it doesn't matter. Yes, we have one. Okay, good. That's fantastic. We'll leave that out. Or no, we don't have one. Okay, great. Let's see what we can do to get you that. There's just different ways you can approach it. And so you want to be able to just go with the tide. You're not trying to fight anything. You're just literally kind of pivoting, and you're getting in the door of like, hey, I'm an agent. I'm licensed in 30 states. I've got a lot of different carriers. I can look at them all, and I can see who's going to give you the lowest cost with the most amount, save you the time and hassle. Do you have a pen and paper? No? Can you get one? I'm telling you, you want to have my information. Because here's the deal. I'm going to give you my license number. I'm going to give you my name. I'm going to give you everything, so that way you can be working with me directly going forward. This is the same number that my mom calls me on. I'm not Jake from State Farm, but I will be working with you and your family going forward, okay? It's very important that you have this. They write, they get a pen and paper. My name's Griffin. I spell it out for them. Here's my number. Okay, good. Can you read that back to me? That's how I know that they're actually writing it down. Boom, they've got it. Boom, put insurance guy. Well, what's the name of the company? Just put it's me. I'm the company. Griffin Insurance Guy. I've learned to do that because I want them to think with me when they think of their insurance, not they're going to forget the name of the company. They just tend to do that. I mean, half the people you'll call, they don't even know the name of their insurance company. They do not know. It's on their bank statement every month, but they don't know. So anyway, just go ahead and give them your name, your number, how they can get a hold of you. Text them, call them, voicemail them, send them a thank you card. These are all little things that you can do just to really help make sure they can get a hold of you so you can truly be there for them when they need you the most. And that's to fix things. That's to make sure they got their policy in the mail. That's when you call them. Maybe they've saved your number in their phone. You text them, you put your name in that text. If they have an iPhone, which a lot of people are nowadays, it'll say maybe Griffin. If you've texted them and they haven't saved your number in there, just these little things. I mean, there's a lot of them you can add together, but I'm giving you like really just compact meat and potatoes data of the entire presentation, which we're, 10, 11 minutes in. I'm not too far away from the quote. I'm going to be giving them a quote here really soon, giving them a price. Look, if we can, I like the trial close. This is where I would throw the trial close in. Now, Betty, if we could find something that fits the budget, would it make sense to get a plan in place today? No, I got to talk to my husband. Understood. Have you and your husband kind of been talking about this a little bit or thinking about it? No, not really. Oh, okay. When's the last time you guys had this discussion? Oh, we had it, well, I don't know. I just don't think we really need this. Boom, 11 minutes in, you've kind of like, this isn't really that important. Or maybe she's just trying to push away. There's so many different things that could happen, but you just kind of want to keep it going. You want to keep it going. Look, Betty, do you normally kind of make all these decisions on your own, or do you get, your husband involved with that kind of decision? I do it all on my own. You could have asked him that 10 minutes ago, and you probably would have got that answer, and then they probably would have given you I really need to talk to my husband about this. Ma'am, let me ask you, when you make a $40, $50, $60, I haven't even given them a price yet. When you make a $40, $50, $60, $80, if you make an $80 a month decision, is that something you normally need to, if you're going to spend $80, do you need to talk to your husband about that? Oh yes, I do. We talk about everything. How long have you guys been married? 40 years. Okay, that's probably like a real thing, right? The other hand is, if they've been married for 40 years, they got life insurance. It's just like, hey, good. Is Tom's there right now, isn't he? Because they'll always say, no, he's not here right now. Tom's sitting right there, isn't he? Yeah, he's with me. Good. Put me on speaker. I want to talk to him. Tom was listening the whole time. Hey, Tom. Yeah. Hey, Betty was talking to me about blah, blah, blah. I kind of repitched the whole deal. I'll just repitch it, and I'll go right back into it. I'll circle back. Is this something you think you guys would need at some point? If you think that there's a desire on their part to have this at any point in time, then you might as well sell yourself at this point. Look, you guys get a lot of calls, right? Oh man, we get hammered with calls. Those darn Medicare people, right? They'll just hammer you with calls. Yeah, they just call. They never stop from 8 in the morning till 9 at night. They call me 35 times a day. Ma'am, I can help you with that. I'm more than happy to help you where you get your number where it's getting less phone calls. Oh, could you do that? That would be amazing. Or maybe they don't really care, but they should care. This is a real concern. Okay, great. So look, here's the deal. I've been doing this for a long time. I've had tens of thousands of conversations. I've helped thousands of families. There's so many different people out there. Can we just be grateful for a few things here on this phone call? Yeah, what's that? Can we just be grateful that you're speaking to a real, American guy who is just here to help you out, to be a resource for you, to make sure that your family's truly taken care of. This is all I do. I want to be in your corner. I want to be that guy for you. I want to help you out to get this thing done, get it crossed off your list, if that's actually something that you want to do. So those are all the gist. This is the gist of the whole thing. I've basically given you, the pretty front end of a call in a nutshell, and you're just going to repeat this. And you're going to hear multiple different things to multiple different things that were said. And there's going to be different routes and avenues, but it all comes down to that center line of, hey, do you remember just wanting to kind of see what your options are to protect your family if something were to happen to you, God forbid? you just kind of keep bringing it back, and just, hey, it's all about your family. It's all about the family. People who love people, this is the only reason why they do this, because they love somebody, they care about them. You're going to find who they care about, find the pain. Betty, have you ever known somebody who lost somebody, then they had to run around and kind of figure out, how in the world are we going to pay for this? No, I've never seen that happen. Oh, wow, that means that they had it taken care of. Everybody had this fully taken care of, so there was no need for you or anybody else to have to get worried about it, because this was already done. No, that's what we're trying to do here for your family. Or they could say, oh, yes, one time. Who was it? Well, it was my cousin, she passed away, and then my aunt and uncle had to, scrap together. The whole family had to get together and get money and pay for it, and it was expensive and stressful. I said, yeah, it's one thing to lose a loved one. It's a completely different thing to have to run around and figure out how you're going to pay for it at the same time. Now look, I've heavily condensed a lot of word tracks and phrases and things into a 16-minute video here, and I know it's a lot to digest. You could listen to this multiple times. In fact, you could spend a whole day dialing, come back to this and watch it again. I guarantee you, every time you watch this video, you'll take something new away from it. You could stop, pause, rewind, and take notes on what's being said here, because this is years of experience combined down into about 16 and a half minutes at this point. And it's a lot. I've thrown a lot at you. I haven't stopped. I've been going nonstop, and I could keep going, and we could dissect and make different sections, and this is the main overview, and we could break it down into small chunks. You send me some feedback, you send me something that tells me where you want me to go or what you want me to handle. I guarantee I've probably already made a video on it, but we can go in a new unit of time as I've just continued to sharpen and get better over the years, and I haven't stopped. And I'm at an all-time high in terms of my ability to offer this and to really help families, and I've helped thousands of families. So let's continue to stay in communication, you and I. Let's work together. Let's make this thing happen. I'll talk to you soon.